Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today on our continued series of Royal Caribbean Quantum of the Seas, we are now in the port of Juneau, Alaska. This is the state capital of Alaska and one of the most breathtaking ports on this trip. From glaciers to gold rush history, there's so much to see, so let's get exploring. Besides being the state's capital, it is one of the most beautiful stops on our cruise. This is one of those ports where you're completely surrounded by mountains, glaciers, waterfalls, and a whole lot of adventure. At this totem that you see on screen is where we met our tour guide for the excursion. We took a whale watching excursion, and it was one of the most beautiful sceneries I've ever experienced. Alaska, on the whole, is just breathtaking and beautiful. So we headed down and got on our ferry, more so than a boat. It was 2 stories. You had the opportunity to sit at the bottom of the ferry or on the top. Our bus driver strongly recommended we try to get a space on top of the ferry, and boy, was he right. The views from the top were just amazing and such clear views as well. Another thing is this excursion on a whole, again through Royal Caribbean, is about 3 to 4 hours long, including not necessarily the boat ride only, but also the trip to and from was another, you can add another hour on to the trip. So between 3.5 to 4 hours. As you can see, we started seeing signs of whales, and boy oh boy, this was so exciting. I'm going to try not to butcher it, Alaska.We, and I'll put the spelling at the bottom. And here's where it's extremely popular, as you can see, with all the smaller boats and, of course, these ferries, or the ferry that I was on, around the whales here. And it's definitely one of the most popular spots. If you don't know, most of the excursions to this area, if they're guaranteed that you will see a whale on this excursion, and most of them say if you haven't seen a whale on the excursion, they're going to give you $100 back, guaranteed. So they know where to go, of course. They know the cycles of the whales, and they know where they go to feed and so forth. And so this is why this particular area is so popular, because this is definitely a space where they feed. So our boat captain actually said that they don't get close. As you see, some of the smaller boats, smaller than the ferry I was on, is quite close to the whales. And I was wondering why, because of course, you want to be up close and personal, get as close as possible. And although the small boats don't necessarily frighten the humpback whales, they can be curious and even approach the boats. However, that can disturb, or the boats, I should say, can disturb, stress, and pose a danger to the whales, especially when they're feeding or socializing, due to the noise of the engine, their unpredictable behavior, and collisions. As you'll see further on in the video, you will see where one of the smaller boats were coming by super fast, and I think that was so dangerous to the whales that are in the area at this time. They're not aware of approaching boats, and that makes them very vulnerable to the boat strikes that they may run into while feeding. They ask, or they say that a distance of about 100 yards should be maintained from the whales. And some guidelines, some recommend even further away. So their blowholes or their blows are a sign of what that they're present and that they're close by. So we want to keep out of their way. This is their time to feed and to socialize, as mentioned. And they let them, we're just being part of their world now. So let them enjoy their world and what's comfortable for them. So this was really an educational excursion as well. And I took the time trying to see the whale's tail, and we would get a lot of the backs of the whales, but just couldn't get to see the whale's tail. And then finally it happened. And I was so ecstatic about seeing the whale's tail and, needless to say, capturing it on video. So thanks to those in my group that was able to catch that better than I did. So thank you so much for doing so. Another fun fact is that the humpback whales leave Juneau, Alaska, head down to Hawaii mid-September, early October. So if you're planning a trip, make sure and get there no later than probably the first week in September, so that you can have the full experience with the whales. They head down to Hawaii and get there about November, December. Alaska Cruises is already predicted to be the second most requested cruise destination in 2026. Let's make that happen for you. Again, this is Michelle at Seashells Travels. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you very much for watching.